What's good? Welcome back to Rappin Dough. It's your man Don Bucks. This is the home of money conversations. We make wealth make sense. You dig what I'm saying? So today we're gonna get into some commentary from a couple videos. We got our mans from EYL talking about the same things I be talking about. Lifestyle inflation. Because it's not about more money. We don't need more money, gang. We need better habits with the money. Because people be chasing the bag, but don't even know what to do when they get it. Is how many times we got to see celebs and athletes have a long career getting the bag, but have nothing to show for it. So it's not necessarily trying to make a lot of money. It's about knowing what to do with the money. So we're gonna get into this commentary after this intro. Rappin' dope, rappin' dope, rappin' dope. Yeah, man. I'm gonna make myself smaller in this joint. But check out our mans from EYL saying the same things I be talking about. We gonna chop this up.
This is interesting. A family making $500,000 a year that is saying that they're struggling to get by. Now, most people, this is triggering to hear because the average American makes $45,000 a year. So to hear somebody who makes $500,000 a year complain is not something that most people are sympathetic about, but it does highlight a very important part of personal finance that very few people talk about, which is lifestyle creep and how do you maintain low expenses when your income goes up. It's actually a lot harder than you think. It starts with buying a home. Most people, the rule of thumb is to buy a home that's 3 times your income. So you would think $1.5 million home is reasonable. But if you make 500,000, you're not really making 500,000. You're making about 350 when you take about taxes, insurance, 401k. So even buying a home at $1.5 million is going to leave you broke because you really can't afford it. Then you have to have a car, but you probably have 2 cars living in the suburbs. And of course, you have to send your kids to the best schools, whether it's private high school or college. And you have to maintain the lifestyle of your neighbors because humans typically live similar to people like themselves.
Now speaking of that, I had this video the other day, and like he said, people tend to live like people that's around them. So the culture has, the rappers, they all feel like they got to live like each other or try to outdo each other. So we had Fat Joe and Kiss on their podcast talking about how, they live in check to check because they buying $300,000 watches and buying these houses. Cause it's like, who are you buying these houses for? Who like who are you buying these watches for real? But it's like he said, most people try to live like their neighbor or try to outdo their neighbor. And that's funny. I mean, why are you trying to y'all already live in the same neighborhood? Like I made this example is like the culture has us hating each other on one end of the spectrum and then trying to outdo each other on the other end. It's a weird conundrum that the culture has us in. Yeah, I mean, um, it's like trying to you got people in the projects grabbing a Benz. How they got the Benz, who knows? But they'll get a Benz and park it in the projects. It's like, why are you trying to be better than like you live in 2B? You literally live in 2B. Why are you trying to act like you're better than the person that live in 2A? Y'all both in the projects. And same thing here. Like you in this rich neighborhood. And it's like, why you gotta like try to outdo your other rich neighbor? It's crazy. Like this person got a 10-foot fence. You want to get a 12-foot fence. It's like, but that's what we got going on here. It's like people trying to um, sometimes you can't, well, a lot of times you can't live in order to get ahead. If you want to get ahead, you can't be trying to live according to what you make. You have to live under your means and stop spinning off emotion. And that's what that basically is, trying to outdo your neighbor. You're spending money off of emotion.
So that means that you go on a great vacation at least twice a year. You don't stay in a Marriott, you stay in a W. And even if you don't fly first class, you still got to fly comfort plus, not coach. What I'm saying is that nobody really ever fully examined what living below your means really means. It means that you're living below the amount of money that you actually should spend, not living at your means. Living at your means that you're living paycheck to paycheck. Living at your means that if you're making 350, you're spending 350. Living below your means that instead of a $1.5 million house, you have a $600,000 house. Instead of flying first class comfort plus, you're flying coach. Instead of staying in the Four Seasons, you're staying in the Marriott. Instead of sending your kids to the top private college, you're sending them to state school. These are sacrifices that you fully cannot appreciate until you actually start to make more money. And it's hard to be prepared for that. And this is why a lot of people that quote unquote are making a lot of money are still broke.
And there you have it. This is why they're still broke. Let me go back to the main screen. This is why they can be making 500,000 and still broke, because they're living at their means. But in our culture, of course, we wasn't taught a lot of this stuff. And then we have the culture telling us we gotta blow money fast. We gotta be flossing. And then you have to maintain this image. That's what a lot of people don't be thinking. It's like it costs to have stuff. Like you buy a Rolls Royce, it costs to have a Rolls Royce. You know what the insurance on the Rolls Royce is? You know what the oil change on the Rolls Royce is? I remember I had this customer when I was a full-time barber, man. He used to stay with the biggest car. He stayed with the biggest car. But I was having this conversation with him, standing out front of the shop one day. He was like, yeah, man, he was running late. He's like, he was getting the oil change. Like, oh man, how much the dealer charge for the oil change? He had a Lexus at the time, the biggest Lexus. Like, yo, how much the dealer wanted for that oil change? He like, man, should I go to Jiffy Lube? I'm like, Jiffy Lube? Take your Lexus to Jiffy Lube? You got the brand new Lexus, not no used Lexus. The biggest brand new Lexus you can have. And this joker taking it to Jiffy Lube for oil changes. Like, bro, like if you're going to do it, you got to do it. Don't get cheap now. Don't skimp now. You got the biggest Lexus you can buy. Brand new. But you want to take it to Jiffy Lube. You could have just got a less expensive car and been able to take it to the dealership for the oil change. This is the shit I be talking about. It's like you want to have this image, but you can't really upkeep the image because it costs to have things. So if you're going to be out here buying all this stuff, it's going to cost you to have it. Like a lot of these athletes, they get these big contracts and they don't think nothing about getting injured. That's just one aspect. They don't think about getting injured. They thinking this money is going to always be coming in. They're not thinking about the future. So then when it stops coming in, some of them jokers ain't even graduate college. They have no skills other than playing ball. See what I'm saying? So people confuse that cash flow coming in with wealth, which is up here. We have to figure out some systems in order to keep it coming in. And slowly but surely, I'm going to say surely, slowly but surely, the culture is waking up because, I keep coming across these videos on Instagram and whatnot. And, people,
$500,000
it seems like
for a
Not
Rolls
yet,
Royce,
brother.
for a Ghost.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that as well. Um, a lot of jokers is of the mindset that yo, man, I've been wasting money. Some of them, some of them are waking up like, yo, this shit is a waste of money. So this next video we're gonna get into is our boy Icewear Vizo, and he done woke up. He done realized like, yo, like this, all this stuff is for nothing at the end of the day. Um, who am I impressing? Who am I impressing? Um, see, most people, they buy these things. We have bills, of course. Everybody got bills. Everybody got rent. We gotta pay our rent. We gotta pay our bills. Oh, of course, we gotta have our Amazon. Gotta have our Amazon, right? The ladies, they gotta have a Sheen, right? But nobody forgets to pay themselves. Like, who has uh, a 10% emergency fund put up? Who has that? Not a lot of people got that. 20% of their income in investments and assets. Not a lot of people got that. You feel me? Um, but we have a lot of these other trinkets. So let's get into what Vizo was talking about.
Bought it at the Rolls Royce dealership. That shit ain't do nothing for my career. It did nothing for me. It did nothing for my business. I caught a 2-week stunt, meaning I felt
Once
proud.
everybody saw it,
Yeah.
that shit don't mean nothing no more.
It took about 2 weeks for everybody knew I had the bitch. It ain't mean that bitch ain't mean nothing.
Collecting dust
$500,000
now.
down the drain. Then I lost 100 racks the moment it pushed off the lot. And the fucked up thing, one thing I realized, right, is that the Rolls Royce dealership is approximately, I did the math, like I'm serious about this shit. The Rolls Royce dealership is approximately 7 minutes from my juice bar. I spent 500,000 with them. Them folks ain't came to my juice bar and spent $5. That shit meant something to me. I don't like that.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying?
That's cold.
Yeah.
Listen. Listen. First of all, what he said, 500,000 he spent on this rose. And as soon as he drove it off the lot, it lost 100,000 in value. Damn. Ooh. It went down 100,000 as soon as he drove it off the lot. Then, to add insult to injury, like he said, he got a juice bar 7 minutes from the dealership. Them jokers ain't come get a juice or nothing out of his joint. They ain't never been through his place of business. So, what is that saying? See, we like to, chase the plays, chase the bag. But like I said, a lot of us don't know what to do with the money when we get it. Like, what is an asset? You ask most people, they won't even know. They won't be able to tell you what an asset is. What's a liability? You feel me? So it's not about more hustle. It's not about more money. It's about more understanding. Because they can strip you from everything. Like they could take your rolls, they could take your bag. But if you got the financial intelligence, you can get it all back. You can get it all back. So you can't be getting all this money blindfolded. Like, just can't. I mean, you can if you want, but you can't blame nobody for when you broke or living check to check as a whole millionaire. You can't. You got to track every dollar. But who like budgeting is not popular. That shit is corny. It's corny. But like I said, slowly but surely, you got jokers like Vizo screaming, listen, man, that shit don't mean nothing, man. What he said? Hold up.
For a ghost. Bought it at the Rolls Royce dealership. That shit ain't do nothing for my career. It did
Ain't
nothing for
do
me.
nothing.
It
Ain't do nothing for his career.
did nothing for my business. I caught a 2-week stunt, meaning I felt
Once
proud.
everybody saw it,
Yeah.
that shit don't mean nothing no more.
It took about 2 weeks for everybody knew I had the bitch. It ain't mean that bitch ain't.
It don't mean nothing. 2 weeks later, it's like another car. Just like any other new trinket you get. Like a little kid, like on Christmas. They play with it for like a week or two, and then it's in the closet somewhere. That's just that on a bigger scale. Like Will Smith said, he said, "Man, I wish everybody to get everything that they ever desire, like so they can realize that shit don't matter. It's not gonna make you happy. People are searching for happiness outside of themselves, for real." So he said, man, it's a such thing. He called it cliff top, just like rock bottom. But this is cliff top. Like when rock bottom, you hit rock bottom, it's like, you know, you can only go up. So it's like you you realize that it's bigger than the stuff because you just lost everything. Whereas though cliff top, it's like you have everything. So it's like that's not making you happy. So you have to search for something inside. You have to go inside for your happiness because you got everything and that still ain't do it. So I even shoot, like I get it. Get all of it. So, because some people say, they hit the lottery, they gotta spend, like let's say they hit the lottery for 50 million. They gotta trick up. And I think a lot of financial advisors probably tell them this too. Like, go ahead and trick up 5-10 million. Get it out your system. Go ahead and get it out your system. That's that cliff top. Get it out your system. So you'll know what it feels like, and it don't really mean nothing. You'll be exhausted yourself spending 5-10 million. Now we can go ahead and get serious with the money and invest it properly. So it's not about money at the end of the day. It's about your mindset at the end of the day. So what are your habits like? Are you spending with emotion? You know what I mean? Or you trying to impress people? That's the question. So bad habits, um, it doesn't really multiply your money. Like your boy Jada and Fat Joe said, you'll basically be living check to check. Whole millionaire. Living check to check. So the object is to have some intention, some goals. Because I already know what I'm going to do with my bag when I get it. I already know. Because I done built habits as a thousandaire. Like a low tier thousandaire. I done built habits. Like I done did more with my little bit than people did with a lot of it. So we build habits with the little bit, which is going to help us stack, grow, multiply. So when we finally get to the big bag, we already know what to do with it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the only way to turn money into impact is to have the financial intelligence. Because like bro said, it ain't do nothing for his business. Ain't do nothing for his career. He was tired of it after 2 weeks. And then to add insult to injury, he just spent 500 bands with these people. And they ain't come spend $5 at his juice bar, not one time. That gotta hurt. That gotta hurt. So let's build for real, y'all. Let's get some attention without money. See y'all in the next one.